Hello! So this is a video about tuning your cello. Now, a lot of times people are afraid to tune your cello. Let me tell you, nobody has ever died in the process of tuning their cello. The worst thing that could possibly happen, and what you're afraid of, is that you might break a string. But if you follow these instructions, that won't happen. And if it does, it's still not the end of the world. Everybody's broken a string at least once in their life. If you haven't done it yet, you have it to look forward to. Now, the important thing to understand is you cannot break the string with the fine tuners. You want to do all of your tuning with the fine tuners if possible. There is no possibility whatsoever that you'll break the string using the fine tuner. You turn it clockwise, it raises the string a little bit. If you turn it counterclockwise, it goes the other way. The problem comes in when your peg slips and you are worried that turning the peg is going to break the string. And you should be worried about it, but not too worried about it, because if you follow these instructions, it won't happen. So let's take the example of the G string on this cello. And I'm going to go ahead and turn the peg so that it's now way flat. This happens when the peg gets dried out from heat or something like that, and it will slip. One day you'll find that it's way down, and you need to bring it back to pitch. So what you want to do with the peg is not tune the string, but get it close enough so you can tune the string with the fine tuner, like you usually tune it. So what you need to do is be able to listen to the string as you tune it. That's the important thing. So you want to know what pitch you're trying to bring it to. Now, you might be worried about that. You might not know what it is. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play the notes on the piano. And all you have to do, if you don't have your own piano, is listen to this part of the video, what the note should sound like. So for the A, it should sound roughly like that. For the D, that. For the G, that. And for the C, that. And you can just find that on the video and play it whenever you need to hear that pitch. Okay? You might have your own piano, or you might have something that generates the pitch. You can go online and you can find sites that will play a note for you. There are all kinds of ways, but you want to be able to hear what is it I'm shooting for. So in this case, we've just done the D string, a G string I should say, and the pitch we are after is this. But we don't actually want that pitch. What we want to do is go a little bit below it so that we can raise it up down here. So before we start playing with the peg, we back it out down here a little bit more so we know we have room to raise it when the time comes. And then that's the pitch we're after. We're going to go a little bit below it, and we want to lock it in there. And so at that point, we look at the peg and we see the angle that the peg is at. It's at about 11 o'clock. So I know that's what I want. I'm not going to be able to continue to listen, so I bring my hand up here and I just wheedle it in. And I'm turning it like that and pushing in as I turn to get it to stay. If I just push it in, it's just going to slip, and I'm sure you've had that experience. But if I wheedle it in, it'll stay. And then I can just bring it up the rest of the way down here. And there I am. And it's fine. Now, it works the same for each string. Now, I'm going to go over again what I'm doing. And you're going to want to listen to this a few times, because I cannot count the number of times I've explained this to students in the lessons, and it just goes in one ear out the other, even if I tell them to hold their hand over their other ear. Somehow it still happens. So you're going to want to watch this a few times to get the details. The first thing that I did that you need to notice is that I was plucking as I was turning. I was listening to the string as I went. And to do that, since I'm right-handed, you could reverse this if you're left-handed, but since I'm right-handed, I have the peg in my right hand, and I've turned the cello away from myself so that I can pluck and turn the peg as I'm listening. You see how I'm plucking down here, and I'm turning. And then I get where I need to go, I bring my hand up, and I wheedle the peg in. And I'm not worried at that point about getting it exact, because I'm going to do that down underneath. Now, if it was the A string, I would have to face the cello towards me to be able to hold with my right hand the peg. So for the two lower strings, the cello is facing away from me so that I get it in my right hand. And for the two upper strings, it's facing towards me so that I can pluck and bring it up, and then wheedle in. Now remember, when you're wheedling, your hand is not down here where it is where you're plucking. It's right there, exactly opposite, so that you can push in, so your hands are like this. You're wheedling in, and you're holding right there, right across from the peg. And it will stay. Now, an important thing to notice, this will all work if your cello is in working order. And you might think, because you've had difficulty with your pegs, that your cello is not in working order. The way you can tell is when somebody like your teacher tunes the cello. If they swear more than 4 times, and if they use certain words that I cannot use in this video, then you know your cello is probably not going to be easy for you to tune. But if they tune your cello relatively easily, then you're going to be able to do it. It doesn't take a lot of strength. You don't have to be a great athlete like me, you know, one of the strongest people on the planet to do this. Very slight people can tune their cellos, and I think I'm a pretty good example of that. So it's not strength, it's directing your force correctly. So you could, if you're not holding the cello in the right place, you're not going to be able to wheedle it in, and it'll slip down. But if you bring your hand up here and you wheedle back and forth, pushing in little by little, it'll stay. And then you go down here and you do the last little bit with the fine tuner. And of course, you probably have a device. I recommend to all my students this wonderful metronome that has a tuner built in. It's called an Intelli IMT 202 Metro tuner. If you don't, so that's got a little needle on it, and it'll tell you when you're exactly in tune. If you have a smartphone, you can get a tuner app for free that'll do the same thing. So knowing when the pitch is in for the final stage of this, which you're doing with these things, is not a problem anymore. You can use an app like that. But you need to hear the note first for this part, the peg part, because the fine tuners, the tuning apps aren't going to help you a lot with that, because you're changing from note to note to note. So this video is really only about when your cello is really out of tune. The other tuning, you know, with the apps and the fine tuners is another story. Maybe I'll make a video about that someday. But this is to address the thing that causes students to come to the lesson after weeks saying, I was scared to tune my cello. Remember, you can't break the string with the fine tuners. If you can tune it with the fine tuners, if it's close enough for the fine tuners, you're safe. So all you're trying to do with the pegs is get in the ballpark. That you have to do by ear. You have to listen as you turn it. You have to know what you're shooting for. And then when you get in the ballpark, you look, see where the peg is, bring your other hand up here, and wheedle it in. All right, now you're safe to go. Good luck, and please, if you now go on to become a famous cellist, I'd like free tickets to your concerts. I like usually a balcony seat. Okay? Thank you very much.